Greetings, friends. Marc David here, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. Happy 2017. We have made it. It is a new year. I hope it is going well for you so far. Today, we're going to have a conversation about food and love. What's the connection? Now, for sure, there's been a lot of people who have made connections between food and love, and that's a really good thing. So we're going to deepen into that connection a little bit and see if we can step into some of the good, juicy places to really understand food and love. What's going on? How's it impacting our unwanted eating habits? How can we use this whole thing about food and love perhaps to our advantage? So I think I got a few interesting things to say about this topic. And while I'm waiting for people to hop onto this Facebook Live, so I'm going to dive into the topic in another couple of minutes. While I'm waiting, if you wouldn't mind, say hi in the comments section below. Tell me where you're from. So in the comments section, say, hey, I'm from, and just let me know. And if you're an eating psychology coach, or if you're a student in our training, feel free to identify yourself so everybody else knows. And so I know. Hello, Miss Sheila. Happy New Year. Glad you're here. So give me a few minutes, and while we're waiting for more people to come on, what I would also like to say is that many of you know, and if you don't, we are currently enrolling for the new winter term of our eating psychology and mind-body nutrition certification training. This is our 8-month distance learning online professional training that you could take from anywhere in the world. That will help you learn how to work with weight and body image and overeating and binge eating and emotional eating, digestion, immunity, fatigue, all kinds of great stuff. And if you would like to learn more, you can email us at info@psychologyofeating.com. We will be happy to connect with you, answer your questions. Hello, Miss Kelly. I'm glad you're here. And Sheila is a coach and an IPE student in LA. Lindsay Boys is here. Thanks for coming by. Wow, we are so lucky to be able to talk about these things. You know, we're so lucky to be in the position where we can really dive into our relationship with food and body and see how to make it better. Because oftentimes, as you know, as we know, that holds us back. And this is a great place to serve other humans. It's a great place to learn about ourselves. Hello, Kim. Happy New Year to you as well. I'm feeling the love in this New Year's. I don't know if it's me. Actually, a lot of people that I know have been saying, happy that 2016 is over. I think it was a hard year for a lot of people. Maybe that's just some of the people I've been speaking to. But anyway, new momentum into the new year. Hello, Sarah. Glad you're here. So food and love, that's going to be the conversation today, my friends. And let's dive in. So here's the thing. A lot of smart people have identified or come to their own conclusion, whether you're an expert in this field or not, that, hey, a lot of us are using food as a substitute for love. And it's true. We do. A lot of people are using food as substitute love. Good observation. Now, it's also been wisely observed that this could be problematic for a number of reasons. Because if I'm using food as a substitute for love, then for sure it is very possible that I can end up, because I'm not getting the love that I want, I'm not getting the intimacy I want, the relationship that I want, the connection that I want, the feel good that I want, the turn on that I want. So if I don't get that, I can turn to food. And hello, Miss Amber, glad you're here. So the net result can be for some people overeating. It can be binge eating. It can be emotional eating. It can be weight gain. It can be shame and guilt, and I don't love myself, and I don't have the willpower, and the whole conversation that gets going when we start to do something that goes against our nature. So the smart ones tell us, okay, so if we get caught up in this conundrum of using food for love, let's just separate that out and do our best and look at food as food and love as love. And I love that. It makes perfect sense. Hello, Gina. Glad you just joined in. So it makes perfect sense that we would use food for love. And we shouldn't get the two confused. But here's what I want to say. I want to say, you know something? let's actually embrace the fact that food really is love. First and foremost, before we try to erase that part of the deal, and this is a different strategy, my friends, but I think it's helpful. Before we erase the part where, well, you should see food is food and love is love, and the two really don't meet, let's look at food as love, because in reality, food might be one of the purest, most amazing, most best forms of love that love can possibly come in, for goodness sakes, is food. So in the metaphoric sense, correct me if I'm wrong, but food is a gift from the heavens. If you don't have any, you're starving. If you don't have any, you're going to die. If you have the minimal amount and not the right kind of food, you're going to get sick. You're going to get unhealthy. Woo! Food is love. It's a savior from the gods, you know. Hello, Monica. I'm so glad you're here. I really appreciate you dropping by. So food is love, my friends. You know, food makes us feel good. Food is delicious. Food reproduces us. Food you could share with your family. Food is something we can connect around. Food continues us. Food continues life. And when we have enough of it and in the right way, food continues life in a good way. Hello, Amber. So, my friends, food is love. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, the power of love, who's going to argue that? Okay, let's actually break that down a little more. From the instant you and I are born, food is life. It's true, and life is love. Life is, it doesn't get any better than that. From the instant you and I pop onto planet Earth, okay, you pop out mama's womb, you're having a rough little moment there, you're a screaming, crying little infant, and all of a sudden you're screaming and crying and you're in discomfort, maybe you're hungry, who knows what's going on. Mama holds you, mama gives you breast, mama gives you bottled milk or whatever it is, and instantaneously, we've all seen this happen, we relax. That infant just goes, ah. We have that memory that I just showed you right there encoded in us. We have it encoded in our cells, in our DNA, in our memory system. You know, I know, we know that feel bad, eat food, feel better. Because it's been happening since we popped out of mama's womb, maybe before that, for all I know. Hello, Miss Louise. I'm glad you're here. Happy New Year's to you, too. So what I'm saying is, at the same time, to that infant who is now first crying and screaming, then gets the bottle or gets the breast, in that moment, what happens is the infant nervous system isn't developed yet. So to the infant mind, hello, Karen, to the infant mind, food is love. Touch is food, touch is love. Mother is food, mother is love. Infants take in all sensation as if they are one. That's just how that part of our nervous system development works. We're not at the point yet where we can tease out the difference between, oh, here's the light coming in, here's the color blue, here's my mother's voice, here's the feeling of my cotton clothes on my body. No, it's all one experience. Food is love, love is food, touch is love, mother is love. It's all one. And again, all I'm trying to say is we have that memory. And what I'm trying to say is it makes perfect sense that we will turn to food as love, because it is love. So why attack that? Why argue with it? Why try to stop that? Let's embrace it first before we try to change it. So I'm acknowledging with you that, yeah, it can be problematic when we turn to food for love way too often, way too much, and not actually go for the heightened kinds of love that we need. So for sure, I get that. So it can be problematic, but let's understand the DNA of this whole scenario. Let's understand the architecture of it. Let's understand the hidden underpinnings. Let's first acknowledge food is love. And that's okay. It makes sense. Celebrate it in that way. So then we can start to get a little bit more elegant and say, okay, and now here's a person that I'm noticing, myself, my client, my friend, my loved one. I'm noticing this person, and it looks like they're constantly reaching for food. when they're uncomfortable or when they can't get what they want. And maybe they even admit, yeah, I come home from work and I don't feel good and I eat all this food because I'm lonely, and it makes sense. You know, in our eating psychology and mind-body nutrition training, one of the things we teach our students oftentimes is you can't always take that away from somebody. I'm not going to take away somebody's food as love. Hello, Jackie from New Jersey. Spent a lot of time in New Jersey when I was growing up. I had relatives there because I grew up on the other side of the water in Brooklyn and New York City. So we have to first embrace that food is love. And then we have to notice that you can't take that love source away all the time from our clients who are using it as a primary source of love until we're able to also help our friends, clients, or loved ones see that, how can I start to incorporate other forms of love into my life? So it's not that food is the problem. It's not that using food as love is the problem. Using food as love is a brilliant solution. We just have to notice that sometimes that solution doesn't work. Because the reality is there's going to be moments when food actually serves you well. You're not feeling good. You're feeling lonely. You have something and you feel better. There's nothing wrong with that. I do it all the time. Food makes me feel better. Yes. Embrace it. Love it. And let's notice the distinctions and the nuances. Let's see, where do I go overboard a little bit? And if I'm going overboard and I'm over-relying on food as love, then we have a good conversation going because we can embrace it without self-rejecting, without self-attacking. And when we stop self-attacking, when we stop all the mind chatter, where we're belittling ourselves because we're not perfect and we're going for food as love, that's a bunch of nonsense. We're not perfect. It's true. It's okay. It's not about being perfect. It's just about getting smarter. As we are on the planet longer and as we figure out, okay, what works for me and what doesn't. So bottom line, first piece, do not beat yourself up if you use food as love. Plain and simple. It's not allowed. It's not a good reason to beat yourself up. In fact, shake your own hand, give yourself a big hug, smart move. Because you understand the basics. Food is love. You cook food for another person, you've given them love. You give somebody a meal, a dish, you buy them a dinner, you take them out on a date, food is love. Somebody doesn't have enough food and you give them food. Food is love. It's a major form of love. For somebody that doesn't have any, is hungry, is starving, woo! So the whole point is you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Embrace that food as love, and then we can start to work with people and start to see, okay, what do we have to tweak? What can we do to help somebody embrace the other kinds of love that they might be looking for? That then becomes an interesting conversation. What else is love for you? I'll give my client the assignment. Write down a list of everything that makes you feel loved, everything that makes you feel good, everything that makes you feel pleasured. And it's this beautiful inventory. What makes you feel loved? What makes you feel good? What makes you feel pleasure? And when we do that, excuse me, people like to talk to me. So when we do that, something interesting happens. We've created a powerful conversation. That's why coaching is so beautiful because, my friends, you and I, we're constantly growing. We're constantly learning. Woo. We're constantly growing. We're constantly learning. And the good news is, in a coaching, counseling, practitioner-client relationship, it's an ongoing dance. It's an ongoing conversation. And we're just listening for where's my client at today? Okay, so you did the inventory. Now let's talk. What else gives you love in your life? And how can you start to incorporate that? Wendy's asking, why do some people not ever get attached to turning to food, though? They are not particularly enlightened about any of this or have just not studied or overcome anything. They just did not have this issue. Wendy, that's a great question. And I don't know the answer. And I don't know that we need to know the answer. And I really mean that. Is a great question. How come some people get attracted to turning to food for love and others don't? Some people get attracted to turning to, I don't know, flirting for love. Some people get attached to turning to, I don't know, being in a career and making lots of money. That's going to make me feel loved. Or being accomplished, that's going to make me feel loved. Or, whatever it is that we got into our heads. So I don't know if asking that question of why will ever have a satisfactory answer, but I think it's certainly good to note that that's what happens. That's what goes down. Sally Ann says, I view food as a best friend. I like that. It is a best friend. What a good thing to do. And sometimes your best friend gets a little weird. Sometimes your best friend annoys you. Sometimes it doesn't quite work out with your best friend that day. So yeah, even in a friendship, in any relationship, we're in relationship with food. And what's relationship? Relationship is change. Relationship is connection. Relationship is communication. Relationship is love. Relationship is sometimes uncertainty. Relationship is we duke it out. Relationship is, we come back to a place of goodness and peace and understanding. So relationship has its challenges. Relationship has its absolute gifts and its beauty. So if you're in a relationship with food, which we are, we can expect it to kind of be all over the map in a lot of ways. In a good way, my friends. So yeah, food is your best friend. Food is love. And sometimes we need to notice that it's okay that food is love. And then there's times when we need to notice, yes, it's okay that food is love. And now, if we're using a little too much in that direction, okay, how do we start to notice what is it that we're really hungering for? Because we will use food in a very symbolic way. So what we teach our practitioners in our eating psychology and mind-body nutrition certification training is food is like a symbolic playground to the psyche, to the mind. You watch kids sometimes. Kids use food very symbolically. Did you ever hear kids say, no, those two things can't touch one another? What does that even mean? When a kid says, this vegetable can't touch that vegetable. What does that mean? Where does that come from? In large part, it comes from the child is wanting to gain control. The child is wanting to have some kind of power. Here's a kid, you're trying to figure out who the heck you are. What are all these big people? Why are they making me eat this nonsense? What's going on with this body? What's going on in this world? And oftentimes the one place that we can have control at a young age is food. I don't want this touching this. And kids quickly realize they can gain some power around food. No, I'm not eating that. I want this. And they scream if they don't get that. And they're happy when they do get it. So we learn oftentimes at an early age that food is one of those places we actually, as little kids, can negotiate around. And we can get some interesting amount of power. So food at an early age often becomes a little bit of a power struggle. And again, that's not bad. It just is. So we are learning so much about life through our relationship with food. But we often get stuck in making it all about the food, all about the food, all about the food. Yes, it's about the food, but it's about so much more than the food. So my friends, food is love. Food is love, and sometimes we go overboard with it. It's just because we're human and we're imperfect, and when we find a good thing, we want to stick with it. Okay, this is love. Let me ride this one into the sunset. So our relationship with food is here to help us grow. Our relationship with food is here to show us some of the places where we might not be aware of that we need to improve in body. We need to improve our mind. We need to improve our heart. We need to improve our character. We need to learn. We need to mature. So our relationship with food is an unbelievably amazing place to learn about how we need to get more conscious, really. How we need to wake up. How we need to find the light. You can't keep beating yourself up. You can't keep letting your friends, your loved ones, your clients beat themselves up because they can't control their appetite. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about asking questions of, how is my relationship with food here to teach me? And in a lot of ways, my friend, we haven't really taken this food is love thing to its logical conclusion, which to me the logical conclusion is this. If food really was love, and if we were really treating it that way, then the companies that are manufacturing food, that would be one of the key distinctions before you manufacture a food. Are you manufacturing a food that's about love? So if you are preparing a meal for someone you love, you cook it right, you make the right ingredients, you make sure it's something that's good for them. Our food companies have lost the love. Our marketers have lost the love. Our nutrition experts have lost a lot of the love. And consequently, what's left is a lot of heads talking to each other about food and nutrition and rules, and people get all crazy, and we don't sense the love in it. So in a lot of ways, food without love, what does it become? It becomes empty calories in a weird way. We're now given permission to relate to food without love, to produce food that has no love in it, i.e. that has toxicity in it, that has chemistry in it, that defiles the human body. That's food without love, my friends. That's not right. So we're here to change that. We're here to change that in terms of the actual foods that we choose to eat. We're here to change that in terms of the foods that you buy. You vote with your wallet in terms of the foods that maybe you grow. So we're here to change that. We're also here to change that in terms of helping people who have gotten caught up in just the web of entanglement that our relationship with food gets us caught up in, not because we're such losers as eaters, but because the way the world teaches us about food is we have a lot to learn about food and nutrition and our relationship with food. We've got our training wheels on still. As a world, as a planet, as a culture, we're kind of at the very beginning of learning how to do food well, how to do our relationship with food well, because we've done this big experiment with industrialization of food. It's not working. We're producing a lot of nonsense. We've done this big experiment in showing people images of these perfect Photoshop bodies, which has a lot of our young people and of every age group being burdened with a disordered relationship with food and a disordered relationship with body, because we get messages that don't make sense to the heart and don't make sense to the soul, and they don't make sense to the body. And we know that on a certain level, but our conscious mind can't always figure it out. So the good news is we're changing that. This conversation is changing that. You're changing that. I'm changing that. That's what we're doing. Hello, Helen. I'm glad you jumped in if I didn't say hi to you yet. So, we are here to change that. And a few people have jumped in and I didn't even say them. Hello, Tarek. Happy 2017 to you. Sally Ann, glad you're liking this. Rachel says hi from Arizona. Kim says food without love is just a sad way to make a profit. Ain't it the truth? And Louise says, I think that people encounter an overweight person, they automatically assume that person loves food, eats too much food, no self-control. Oh my goodness, yeah, we have a lot of preconceived notions. You don't know anyone until you know them. So if food really is love, we have to let go of all the judgments that we can tend to come at with people when it comes to food and body and weight. That's part of the beautiful challenge that we have. How to accept people for who they are, for what they eat, even if they don't look the way you think they should or eat the way you and I don't think they should. It's all okay. Alonzo's here from Raleigh, North Carolina. Thanks for jumping in. How do you help a child learn that the food they eat affects the way they function? You tell them. But you tell them in a good way. You tell them in a fun way. You tell them in a way that makes it fascinating, that makes it interesting. I told my son, the food we eat, it gives you energy. It gives you power. The food you eat becomes you. And that's why we eat food that's good food for us, because when you have the good building blocks, you become better, stronger, healthier, bigger. You find out what it is a child wants. Do they want pretty? Do they want beautiful? Do they want strong? Do they want happy? And even if they don't get the message intellectually, they hear it, they hear it, they hear it. You're giving memes, you're giving wisdom that's like a seed that you plant. You say it enough. My son is 24. He'll say to me things like, Dad, you've been saying that for years. You've been saying that for years, and it finally makes sense to me. And I finally realized, oh, that's why you kept saying that. So the good messages that we deliver to people, I love you, I care about you, we say it with meaning. You know, does a 7-year-old really know exactly what you mean when you tell them you love them? Maybe. I don't know, but they don't know the nuances of it, but they get the feeling. You know what I'm saying? Beverly says, hi, Mark, my first time with you, loving your work. Beverly, I appreciate that. Thanks so much. You know, my friends, we are, like I said, we are so fortunate to be able to be in a conversation where we could examine our relationship with food and body, because the more you and I are empowered around our relationship with food, the more you and I are empowered about the body that we're in. Anyone who is empowered around their body is more empowered in the world. It's as simple as that. So what happens is a lot of people go, oh, well, if I need to be more empowered in my body, that means I have to lose weight, I have to diet, I have to shrink myself, I have to look exactly like this, and this, and then I'm empowered. That's the nonsense that we're taught. And underline the word nonsense. Being empowered in your body means being empowered in your body, first and foremost. It means landing here. It means looking in the mirror and saying, okay, whatever this is, I'm on board. Whatever this is, I stand by you. So part of the work that we do with our clients, you know, from a professional standpoint, is we model for them that you stand by yourself no matter what, because people abandon themselves. People have abandoned us, or they've said harmful things to us, sometimes purposefully, sometimes they didn't even realize. And oftentimes our clients, when they have eating challenges, they come to see us and they're not loving themselves. They feel like they're failures. And a part of them is abandon myself. Oh, I'm just going to eat whatever I want because I can't control myself anyway. And I'm just going to talk, you know, negative self-talk to myself. And when we're with those clients, we start to, we unconditionally accept them for who they are, for where they're at. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to lose weight, gain weight, look taller, look shorter for me to love and accept you anymore. Do I want to help you get where you want to go? Of course. But I love you just like this. And it's okay. So that's our starting point with people. That's where you would start with a kid, right? You wouldn't tell your little kid, well, you're only 2 years old and you're small right now, but when you're bigger, I'm going to love you much better. You're going to be a better person when you're bigger. I'm like, you know, right now this is okay, but bigger is much better. You wouldn't say that to a kid. You love them at every place they're at. And when you love them in every place they're at, you give them the wind under their wings to get to the next place they need to go. That's what we do with our clients, our friends, our loved ones, ourselves, whoever you're trying to help when it comes to food and body. Kim says it's learning to love the way you are during your transformation towards the way you want to be, not just once you get there. Bingo. Because I've said this before, and forgive me if you heard me say this, but I got to say it again because it's so important. So often we use self-hate, negative self-talk as a driver to push ourselves to get where we want to go with food and body and weight and our relationship with food. Oh, you suck. Lose weight. Control your appetite. You're no good. You're a willpower weakling. And everybody would love you better if you finally just lost that 20 pounds. The world's going to just go, oh, finally, you lost the weight. We love you. You know, how can a road that's filled with self-hate and self-attack possibly end at a destination of self-love? It's logically impossible, my friends. We have been taught to attack ourselves along the journey to arrive at a place of self-love and arrive at a place where the world's going to welcome us by beating ourselves up. Logical fallacy does not work. You got to get that. Your friends have to get that. Your clients have to get that. So that's why I'm excited about this work, because it's for far too long the vast majority of information that's delivered around nutrition that's delivered around our relationship with food has been absent of this thing called love. Because love is such a squishy word and it's not scientific, so we kind of put it over there. And then we blame it, oh, you're using food as love. And we kick love to the ground again, and it's just time to put love on a pedestal and put it right up there with the best ingredients you want to put in your food, to put it right up there with the best technique and strategy that you want to have in your hip pocket with your clients. Yeah, I might do tough love with my clients. Yeah, I might be teaching them and giving them facts and information. But it's always coming in a big package of love. Otherwise, why are we going to listen to anyone if there's no love in it? I hear really, really well when love is spoken. It's as simple as that. It helps the medicine go down better. You got something challenging to say to somebody. If you have something to say to somebody, your client, your friend, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your kid, saying it with love, even though it might be hard to hear, even though it might be hard to say, even though you know it's not going to be received well, said with love, helps it go down easier. Love is like a digestive aid, for goodness sake. Love is a lubricant. Love is a potentizer of the wisdom and the information that we deliver. Wow. Love is good. That's the bottom line. Food and love. What a great package deal. Yes, my friends, food is love. Yes, my friends, celebrate that. And yes, understand that we can go overboard sometimes with the food is love thing. So that's when we start to make course corrections. That's what we love to train our practitioners in and our eating psychology coach and mind body nutrition certification training. So for those of you who hopped in a little bit late before I got going here, by the way, everything I'm discussing with you now is what we talk about in the training. So if you are interested in our professional training, which we are now enrolling for the winter term, that starts in a couple months. So we already have a great class of students from around the world. Hello, Amy Hanson-William. Glad you're here. Tanya from Maui. Aloha. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, I'm going to do more podcasts. The podcasts are happening as we speak. What another great way to kind of plug into our work. So if you're interested in our training, email us at info@psychologyofeating.com. We will be happy to hook you up. If you are interested in working with an eating psychology coach, they're in this thread as we speak right now. Please feel free to reach out to them. Please identify yourself. I know a few of you have already. My friends, I so appreciate you being part of this conversation. If you hopped on late, this Facebook Live will be available as a replay within, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes after I finish up now. And if you know somebody who might be interested in this, please share it with them. If you like our fan page here on the Institute page, then you will receive updates. Tanya, thanks for saying the training rocks. It kind of does. It's personally transforming. You learn a great body of work. You learn how to help others. We need it. You know, the world needs a lot of love. The world needs a lot of upgrading when it comes to having an empowered relationship with food and body. That is the name of the game. You know, we are just learning how to be better and better humans. We are learning how to empower ourselves in the places that count so we can live the lives we're supposed to live. It's as simple as that. For all the people sending love my way and our way, thank you so much. Sending it right back at you, my friends. Have a great 2017. I got lots more Facebook Lives coming up this week. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.